short applications to Sundance this year, and they showed 53. So you are one of the rare few who are here. Congratulations to all of you. Let's start with Renee and Snake. Tell us about the film, again, for people who may not have seen it, but the tone and just the plot.
I'm really happy to be here. I'm not feeling super good about being here after the really incredible panel that we just heard. I'll do my best. So Snake is a film about a British Chinese violinist who, she's really, really good, she's the best. And then another Chinese violinist shows up who's also very good, and the pressure of the competition and her own internalized racism kind of cause her internal demons to take external form. So I also grew up in a suburb in America where everyone around me was Asian, and that was a very unique and comfortable way to grow up. And then when I was 18, I left, and then suddenly I realized that people, like the way people looked at me differently or saw me differently, and then I saw myself differently, and I saw myself, I don't know, there was something about me that I wanted to get rid of. I really spent a while rejecting every part of me that was Asian, as much as I could, which I obviously couldn't. And the film is about that, I think, the experience of internalized racism, and how, you experience something enough times and you take it inside yourself, and you see yourself as something maybe ugly or monstrous. And it's also a bit about like a specific thing that happens in that if me or another Asian girl are in the same room, no matter how alike or different we may look, we just get mixed up and called each other's names. So the girls in the film are called Faye and May, and they're just they're constantly mixed up. And yeah, but I wanted to tell the story about this experience, but in a fun and spooky and kind of gross, entertaining way. It's a horror comedy short film, and I don't know, there's some snakes and worms and stuff as well.
Why did you want it to be spooky? This was part of the Midnight Short Screen, which premiered last night. Congratulations again.
Thank you. It's an incredible lineup. I really recommend seeing it. I don't recommend taking your parents. That's what I did. Sorry, what was the question?
Why spooky?
Oh, yeah. I come from an animation background. My previous short films have been completely animated. So the way that I approach filmmaking and is through construction or through creating worlds and creating visual worlds. And so I wanted to make this live action film, but I really wanted a way that I could still bring my own experience in fantasy and in creatures and things inside. And horror is a genre where you can go supernatural. You can go you can go there. That's why.
And talk about that a little bit, because your previous films have been all animation, and this is your first live action. And how was that for you?
It was great. Yeah, it was really good. Animation is really hard and takes a long time and is very lonely. So I had just made this 16-minute stop motion musical film that was it's called A Black Hole, and I spent a long time inside a dark room by myself. So I really wanted to try something different, and something that I wanted to try something different. So I thought live action, I'll give it a go. But I am, as an animator, I spend a lot of time alone, and normally I make films on my own in my bedroom. But with live action, it really just expanded. It's not just my film, it's 50 other people's films, and that was the most exciting and gratifying part of it.
And in the Q&A last night, you were talking about the difference of using actors in animation and how you were relying on the facial expressions of the actors that you normally wouldn't, or surprised you. Can you share a little bit more about that background? And I think one of your actors is here as well.
Hi, Lena, can you stand up? Stand up, she's amazing.
Just like her character, or characters just like her.
Yeah, so Lena plays May, who shows up and is a brilliant violinist. She's also a brilliant violinist, by the way. So actors are very, humans and puppets are different things, and I really kind of had to make that adjustment very quickly. But I would find myself on set kind of, sometimes I just wanted to like take their head and move it a little bit this way, and just, but I realized that I can't do that. And so I realized I had to use words to try to convey what I wanted, and I think for me that was a huge learning experience, and so I'm really grateful to my actors and my crew and everyone for, their patience, and I learned so much from them, and I think we all had a really good time, so that to me is so important, that everyone's having a good time when we're making the film, because, it's a film, it's like a weird thing that we're doing, it's a thing that's meant to bring joy and entertainment, so I really think it's important that everyone's having a good time.
I think from the crowd last night, everyone was definitely having a good time.
I'm glad to hear.
Vea and Luciane, tell us about Mother Tongue, and again, for the folks who haven't seen it, describe it in its plot form.
Yeah, well, hi everyone, Mafile'o. My name is Luciane, this is Vea. We're from Aotearoa, New Zealand, and our cultural heritage is Tongan. And if you don't know what Tonga, heard of the country Tonga, if you know where Fiji is, it's like next to it. So it's an island nation in the South Pacific. We've had a lot of questions about that the past week. And the short film is about a young speech language therapist who I play, named Catherine. She's really insecure about her cultural identity, and she takes on a job where she has to look after a Tongan man who's lost his ability to speak English. So he was bilingual, now can only speak Tongan. And because of her insecurity, she fabricates her ability to speak Tongan, and she has to find a way to communicate to help him with his recovery from his brain trauma. It's a very long-winded way of explaining it, but it just deals with the Pacifica diaspora and how us, those of us who are immigrants who don't speak our mother tongue, how do we deal with that in our new home countries.
And Vea, can you talk about this set? It's a very intimate set, it's a home. I know there's other scenes that take place, but why did you choose the color palette and the atmosphere that you did?
Well, actually, the set is Luciane's family home, so maybe you should answer this question.
Yeah, okay. So we didn't have to dress the set that much because so my grandparents immigrated to New Zealand from Tonga in the 70s, which is now a very gentrified area. It's the most expensive part of Auckland now, and they bought it for $30,000 in the 70s. Now it's worth $3 million. So it's crazy, and it's the last house on the street that looks like it. So and it kind of represents the deterioration of CLC, the man that you saw in the clip, and not wanting to let go of the past. And it was really special for me. Our family, my grandma passed after we'd finished shooting the short, and we're going to sell it. And so I think it's really special in this film that we have it forever immortalized in film format. So it's really special to us.
Yeah, and I mean, it was the obvious place to have it. I mean, we hardly had to do any set dressing. We are lucky. We often work with my sister Emily, who's our set designer, and little sister. You know, everything is always a family affair for us Tongans, on set and off set. But I mean, the house just spoke volumes on so many different levels. So it was, even though it was Siosi's house, it spoke of a connection that we all could identify. In that I saw my grandfather. Everyone who watches the film, they're just like, oh my gosh, I can see my grandparents in that same house. So
You can definitely feel the intimacy. So how did you two come together?
We've known each other for a long time. Back home in New Zealand, our industry is very small, and when you find another Tongan on set, you're like, what's your last name? Who's your cousin? What?
I'm sure we're related.
Yeah. And we actually worked on a short film together and a web series, and we've done multiple roles. I was working in production, she was working in the art department. She's actually from an art background. And we were smoking ciggies in the car park on a night shoot. And I was like, I have this idea for a film, and it's not going away. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I've never written before, because my background's in acting. And she was like, I like the sounds of that. Let's keep talking. And I came up with the idea in 2018. We shot it in 2020, and this is the first time it's been shown, so it's a long journey.
Our theme today is about voice and finding voice and how it evolves. So for each of your films and whichever characters you want to talk about or whatever point of view you want to tell the story from, what does that mean to you with your film? The evolution of voice. Renee, do you want to start?
Yes. So the evolution of the voice. I think the film is about a girl who starts out very uncomfortable, who has one drive, which is to be the best, and anything and anyone that is a threat to that is a threat, is an enemy. And I think it's about her, and that threat becomes so overwhelming that she squeezes some worms out of her neck. But then I think it's about her journey into realizing that actually not everybody who looks like her is automatically the enemy, but that maybe this girl who seems threatening could be a friend, could be a potential friend. And that is a personal journey that I'm sort of still going on. My best friend in the world, we're very, very alike in kind of every way, and I just know that if we'd met in slightly different circumstances, we would hate each other's guts, and that's really sad to think that I wouldn't have her in my life. So yeah, I think that was an important thing that I wanted to talk about, and also it's about a journey of sort of expecting and embracing what you look like and who you are, and finding those things that you maybe thought were monstrous once, and then with the right people, with the right support, that those things can melt away and become, something that's really, really beautiful that you can find and embrace together. Like creatures melting into bone instruments, which you play together on stage.
You can definitely see it with the animation, with the snakes, with the mask, with removing the mask, and then how it circles back at the end. So I definitely think you captured all of that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So I guess, there's not many Tongan filmmakers. So when we talk about finding our voice and stuff, it's not just our own personal voices that we need to kind of consider, because we are literally representing a space that has never been represented from our own lens. So it's a really exciting time as well, because we literally are the pioneers of not just the voice that's being said, but how we operate on set, and bringing a Pacifica way of working and communicating, which is not like other sets. It's fun to be on our sets. It's like going to work and hanging out with your mates, and it's some of these kind of industry productions that we have been on are just so
Well, give us more color. What do you mean?
I guess we're from a collectivist culture, so everything is family. We share food together. We collaborate in such a different way, and the cast, we just felt like family. I feel really comfortable with each other. It's very community based, and we know each other all so well. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, but also I'm a documentary director. Like Luciane was like, "Can we do my drama?" And I was like, oh, "Shit, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I want to do this. Okay, how to be a drama director? I can do it. I'm gonna do this because she's my girl, And we have this kind of loyalty that we do stuff because that's our people. So it's
community.
It is community, but it's also building the favours because it's circular, you know, and it's the love that kind of circulates around. I'll do this for you. It's a bartering system. You do. I know 10 years, 5 years time, you're going to do this for me, and it's how we can all elevate together.
Yeah, it's very. I remember when her film premiered. For My Father's Kingdom premiered at Berlin. Her documentary, and then they brought it home to New Zealand, which was really special at our film festival. And I was on set, and we had to do overtime, and I was acting, and I was like crying to the AD. I was like, please, I have to be there because it means so much to us. Like we have 20 years of experience in film versus, you know, our other Maori, Samoan cousins who've had longer, and the Asian community, 100 and something years. So listening to the people today was so inspiring. Sean and the filmmaker, it was just so inspiring of where we could potentially go. But it's also a lot of pressure because we're the guinea pigs.
I think we are all inspired by the three of you up here, and how you're able to tell a story with such high stakes and emotion in 15 minutes. These shorts, like you totally get invested as a viewer. Renee, I had total chills watching, not knowing what was going to happen, and these snakes coming out of nowhere, and just it was bizarre and spooky, like you said, but then also very real and human. And for Mother Tongue, it's literally life or death. I mean, you got that across in 15 minutes. So for the audience here, how do you build such an arc in such a short period of time?
That's a good question. So I thought I went into this live action film thinking live action is fast and it's really, you know, it's bam bam bam. You got 5 days shoot, you got a film, and then we were in development for 2 years, and it took a long time. But that development process was actually turned out to be really really invaluable, and it made me such a better writer and director. I think it was a BBC film, and that was a big part of the process of like figuring out, my previous films are they're a little bit more, I don't know, of a journey, but with this film I really wanted to express something a bit more specific and precise, like I really wanted to share what I was thinking. I wanted that to come across as much as possible, and so they really worked with me to figure out how to do that. Another, very valuable person was my editor, Amelia Arpin. Please stand up. She's a genius, and we worked together from the very beginning, talking about story and just how to make a film. And I think editing is such a big part of the tension building process, taking all the stuff that you've got and just fine tuning it so that you kind of have something that builds, and talking about the arcs and the waves of tension and surprise, and especially in horror. I think editing is such a big part of it.
So I guess, being the only sort of Tongan filmmakers and stuff, everyone on set was like 110% invested in making this an amazing film. So all of my actors gave me all of themselves plus more. So I was very blessed to kind of have this wonderful, it was honestly a dream job to be able to direct these guys, because it just felt so real. And so,
How do you pack so much in 15 minutes?
So also, Tongans are so emotional. Like, I can't believe I haven't cried yet. This is a rare opportunity to be on a panel and actually be able to articulate stuff, because I'm usually trying to hold back the tears. But so for me, like, the emotional journey was like key, and I spent like 2 years in the edit just making sure that at the end of the film, I wanted at least like 75% of the audience to be in tears, and for it to transcend cultures, because at the end of the day, it's a story between a young woman and an old man, and no matter what race we are, it had to transcend to an audience, because I just want to make people cry.
I was part of that 75%. And like, the scene just transitioned, and I was like, what just happened there? I won't ruin it for everybody else.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, you know it better being in the edit suite, and I kind of popped in every now and again. But I guess in the writing process, it's like you could write forever. You could keep going. And I think it's harder than features, I'm sure. I mean, I haven't made a feature, but to get so much in a short amount of time, and to have that emotional arc is really hard to do. And so I commend anyone who makes a short, because it's not an easy thing.
Do we have questions from the audience? We have a hand up right there. Yes, with the glasses and the earrings. There we go. Thank you.
Hi ladies, congratulations. I haven't had the chance to watch your short films, but I'll make sure I will. Absolutely. My question specifically is for Luciane. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, Luciane.
Luciane. Do you think or feel like your process, because I heard you mention that you've never written anything before. So do you think your process as a screenwriter, like, did any of your foundation information as an actor helped you? Or do you feel like that translated into your screenwriting? Or do you feel like you were somehow reborn or had to reinvent yourself from a different, like, artistic perspective?
Thank you for your question. Yeah, totally. I read so many scripts all the time for auditions. They send you the full script most of the time, or like the first episode. And you kind of develop your taste of like, oh, I want to be a part of this one, or oh, this one's a bit, dodgy. So yeah, because I've been acting since I was 17, I'm 30 now, and I'm also like a nerd. I buy screenplays. So I used to go on eBay and buy for your consideration booklets that people put out for like the Academy Awards, and they're like $6, and I'm like, oh, I want Roma, and I want Moonlight. So I just would read those for fun and see how like people at the top of their game structure their scripts, because everyone writes so differently. And lessons from the screenplay on YouTube, and all those things, like free information. Like I believe that you can just learn as you go, and then you find your style as you write, and then that really helps me with my acting, because I pick apart a script like a crazy person, and I go up to writers like, I'm filming a show right now, and everyone was on their Christmas break, and I wrote them an essay. I was like, this scene doesn't make sense. They say this 5 times. So it kind of helps both, and I'm just a psycho about my work, yeah.
We'll take another question from the audience. This woman right up here, but before we get to her question, and as the mic is being brought to her, what's the dream for your films? Do you have any aspirations to turn these into feature-length films, or are you like, I'm shorts, that's it, that's my thing?
I'm writing a feature right now. It's not straight up based on the short, but it's kind of a similar style. But yeah, that is very much the dream for the next step. But I guess one thing that I've been asked this question recently, thinking about the next. Like I feel like I'm always kind of dreaming about the next step and thinking, once I get there, everything will be perfect. I'll be happy. But I think it's really about like, I don't know. I'm trying to step back and think. Actually, now is really good too. And I think one thing that I realized, shorts are so valuable. As I'm trying to write a feature, and suddenly you have so much more to think about. Like, will a foreign language film sell? Will a claymation film sell? And the answer is usually not great. But with a short, you have so much. No one's asking that question. You're just, it's freedom. It's like the opportunity to try stuff out. To like, the goal with the short is to stand out. I think, to make something different, and that's not what. Yeah, I don't know. It's a really special, unique form of filmmaking.
Yeah, I mean, we've got oh man, we've only just started telling Tongan stories, so we've got like the library catalogue of things that we want to do. But yeah, the thing is we need to upskill more of our people like quick fast, so they can be in places from above the line, below the line, crews, like the stuff that we were blessed to have costume, art department, ADs as Tongan women, but we need more Tongans and Pacific Islanders working on our sets, because that's where you kind of gather the authentic sort of ness of your projects. And if everyone in the room while you're shooting is feeling that vibe, then you know you've got it, and you're safe, you've got it in the edit, you hope. But yeah, so the future, I think we're just starting, but we've started things like the Title Patch Creative, which is a Southside grassroots production, Indigenous studios. But it's with those initiatives and us all working together that we can elevate to make more stuff, eh?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I think the ideas just come at the right time. We were sitting in a spa. Oh, you guys call it a hot tub. The spa's a different thing here. We're sitting in the hot tub and we're just like, oh my gosh, this, what about this? So I think just being here and watching other creatives, it's just so, like, hearing your stuff and seeing your stuff just then, I'm like, oh my goodness, there's so much cooking, and hopefully more, and features hopefully one day. You had a question here?
So this question is from one nerd to another. In terms of the full-length scripts that you accessed, what were your resources? And also, you said a short film is harder than a feature, and I completely agree. So how did you decide that you were done with that script? Or at what point did you say, yeah, let's go make this?
I originally wrote this when I wasn't booking work as an actor, and I was like, I'm just working in hospitality in LA and this sucks, and I don't know what I'm doing with my life. And I just downloaded like a free script writing app called like Soundtext or something before I got Final Draft. And I just threw my ideas there. There was no structure, it was just like, and then this, and then this, and then this. And I read it to my roommate at the time, and she was just like, I get it, I'm Irish, I get all these cultural nuances. And I was like, really? Like, I thought it was so specific. And then I found my producers, and they were like, we'd love to read the script, we'd love the pitch. And I was like, okay, it's 20 pages long, which is way too long for short. And I had cut out reference shots of like things that I liked and like stuck them and scanned the script. Like, what a weirdo, just email the script. And then they were like, okay, well, it's really long. And then in New Zealand, we have a New Zealand Film Commission. We applied for this program called Fresh Short, so it's emerging writers, directors, and 200 people enter. We got shortlisted in the top 16. And then we all get assigned mentors, and our mentor just pulled apart everything and asked me really like beneficial questions. And originally I was going to have it as a two-hander, and she was like, no, it's her story, stick to that, you don't have time. And she pulled me aside and just gave me some gems of knowledge, and she's been so supportive. And she said, there's stories that are told and there's stories that need to be told, and there's no reason that the Film Commission should not fund this. And I was like, okay, she thinks this, she's a legend back home. And then we got the funding, and then you tweak things because of production costs. But yeah, it always changes, even in the edit. Sorry, that's such a long answer.
Another question from the woman here with the headband. It's probably our last question.
Hi, I haven't been able to see your shorts as well, but I remember Vea from Your Father's Kingdom, and we interviewed I think a year ago, and you talked about workshopping, like basically your heart, your whole family, and how you wouldn't do that again, or like how it took so much out of you to shop it around. And it's so awesome to see you in like this like fiction space, and how like what's the process like? And you also, sorry, there's so many questions. You mentioned the New Zealand Film Commission, and if you can talk a little bit more about that, because I know that you educated me on some things like that, about how you need a producer and how there's a trio of how to keep the story authentic. But sorry, too many questions. Somebody take this mic away.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I guess telling a family story for me back then, when I was only going to do documentaries, I needed to learn to tell my own story first before I felt comfortable telling other people's stories. So I'm also blessed that my whole family were like, okay, we'll do it, because I'm actually coming from an art school background, so I've been kind of filming them with little handy cams, like your one. And my sister was also a photographer, so my family was relatively used to having a camera in their face. In terms of shopping it around, yeah, it's not a thing that as Pacifica we're used to putting our family at the forefront and be like, right, take on my family, you know, if you want to, take the trauma, please, someone. But I mean, I don't know, you just have to do it, because who else is going to do it if you don't do it? And if these stories aren't out there, then you don't get the opportunity to inspire people, you don't get the opportunity to enlighten people, to show people of other cultures and spaces. So you have to just take that on the chin and just be confident. It's so not New Zealand to be like, anyway, America's very different in that sense of, Okay. I can remember this. What was that? Oh, the film commission. Well, I went to a commissioner's dinner, whatever occasion here the other night, and there's film commissions all around, like Seattle, Philadelphia. So I think, you know, if you're wanting to, wherever you're based, find out about going that track, because they are all completely different in terms of their systems and what they need to give to the government and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, but definitely, it's a long process though. So I would also suggest thinking outside the box. Philanthropy, if your film is related to mental health issues, Mental Health Foundation, you know, like think outside of the box of these film funding places to get your stuff done, because there's money and we have to search through the weeds to find it.
Quick lightning round then. If people want to follow your work and keep following your careers, where should they go and where should they look? And let's start with Renee. Websites, up-and-coming projects, screenings that are happening at Sundance now.
Our screenings are
25th, 26th, and 27th.
yes, and Alina will be doing the Q&As at those screenings, so please join. My Instagram is at Renee. It's 3 M's. Thank you. Feature on the way.
Thank you.
Our screenings are, we're shorts program 2, 27th, 29th. You can.
They're saying they're screening tomorrow, but it's sold out, but you can wait list.
And you can find me on Instagram under my name, Vea Mafile'o, or at the Title Patch. Come visit if you're in New Zealand, South Auckland. Title Patch Creative. It's a long way. Yes.
Great. Luciane.
Follow me on Instagram. It sounds so cringe to say. You're like an influencer. I'm probably going to take a social media break, to be honest. Our producers at Run Charlie Films, they post all of our stuff because we're useless.
My Instagram is mostly pictures of my cat.
It's okay, people want to get to know you all. Well, it's been a pleasure to speak with all 3 of you and to uplift Asian voices. I'd like to thank the filmmakers. Congratulations to all of them. Thank you to Harbor and Josh Elks, our sponsors, as well as Southwest, and to the Sundance team, Doug and Bianca, who are here, and also to our Asia Society Northern California team, Christy Young-Smith and Jason Fong. Can you raise your hands again? Thank you for all your work on this program. Please give them a round of applause. Join us at Asia Society to support the mission of amplifying Asian voices. We do events in San Francisco, in Silicon Valley, in Seattle. We have 16 centers around the world. And again, thank you for joining Asia Society at Sundance. much.